I haven't agreed on the number yet, but they're going to have some because they do need protection. But the European Union is paying for it. We're not paying anything for it.
Until recently, Russia's president had every reason to believe the war in Ukraine was bending in his favor. Europe was tiring. American aid had slowed to a crawl. The White House was again occupied by a man who had once called NATO obsolete, labeled Ukraine's president a dictator, and vetoed efforts to label Russia the aggressor at the United Nations. It was a geopolitical bet that appeared to be paying off. Until Sunday evening, standing before reporters in Washington, Donald Trump announced that the United States would begin supplying Ukraine with what he described as very sophisticated military hardware, including the formidable Patriot missile defense system, which they desperately need, he added. He did not stop there. Mr. Trump, once an admirer of Vladimir Putin's strength, offered a blunt assessment. He talks nice, and then he bombs everybody in the evening. For the Kremlin, this was not merely unhelpful rhetoric. It was a signal that the assumptions underpinning their strategic patience may have been badly misplaced. In his first months back in office, Mr. Trump sought a reset with Moscow. He spoke to Mr. Putin by phone, sent envoys to Riyadh for trilateral talks, and briefly echoed the Russian line on Kyiv, repeating claims that Volodymyr Zelensky was authoritarian and obstructing peace. But behind closed doors, frustration appears to have mounted. When ceasefire talks failed to deliver progress, the president reportedly told aides, "We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin." By July, his tone had shifted dramatically. He told reporters, pissed off. This shift has now translated into material policy. The deployment of Patriot systems represents not just a tactical advantage for Ukraine, but a strategic blow to Russia's long-range campaign. These platforms are among the most advanced air defense weapons in the American arsenal, capable of intercepting cruise missiles, drones, and short-range ballistic weapons. Their arrival may limit Russia's ability to conduct saturation strikes on energy grids, ports, and cities, tactics it has relied upon to spread fear and sap Ukraine's economic resilience. Perhaps more significant than the weapons themselves was Mr. Trump's framing of the decision. "We'll be reimbursed 100%, he said. "That's the way it should have been a long time ago." The comment reframes the optics of support. Rather than portraying military aid as altruistic or ideological, Mr. Trump casts it as transactional, a deal rather than a donation. It is a clever repositioning for domestic audiences, many of whom are skeptical of overseas entanglements. In political terms, it also undercuts critics who warned that a second Trump presidency would lead to abandonment of Ukraine. Instead, he is reasserting control on his terms. For Mr. Putin, that is a deeply unwelcome development. Russia's strategy over the past year has rested on several assumptions, chief among them that Western unity would fracture and that Ukraine's defenses would erode faster than its allies could replenish them. Above all, Moscow gambled on the return of Mr. Trump to the White House as a potential turning point. Mr. Putin had reason for optimism. Mr. Trump had previously blocked aid, derided NATO, and spoken fondly of strongmen. But that hope now appears misplaced. Instead of disengagement, Mr. Trump has sent a retired general, Keith Kellogg, as his envoy to Kyiv. Mr. Kellogg did not merely shake hands upon arrival, he embraced Mr. Zelensky's chief of staff at the station platform. It was, in the world of diplomacy, as deliberate as it was symbolic. From Moscow's perspective, this introduces a new and potentially destabilizing variable, unpredictability. Mr. Putin has long preferred dealing with predictable adversaries, slow-moving, divided, wary of escalation. But Mr. Trump's impulsiveness is different. He does not behave according to diplomatic convention, and crucially, he does not appear bound by prior affinities. Having once praised Mr. Putin, he now derides him. Having once dismissed Ukraine's plight, he now equips it. That swing, however cynical, unsettles long-range Kremlin planning. It also raises the risk of escalation. What might follow? If the Patriots are deployed swiftly, Ukraine will be better able to defend its skies ahead of winter, a season when Russia typically steps up attacks on civilian infrastructure. With improved defenses, Ukrainian forces may be freed to redeploy to the front, no longer tethered to static protection roles. That could restore momentum to a war that has, in recent months, ground into stalemate. The strategic implications go further. Should the Trump administration continue to send material and maintain pressure on European allies to do the same, Mr. Putin may find himself confronting the very scenario he had hoped to avoid, a renewed and rearmed Ukraine, backed by an unexpectedly unified West. None of this is to suggest a full reversal of Mr. Trump's instincts. His foreign policy remains transactional, suspicious of alliances, and attentive to public opinion. But the events of recent days suggest that even he has limits, and that Mr. Putin may have overplayed his hand. The war, once seen as a test of Western resolve, is increasingly becoming a test of Russian patience. For now, Mr. Trump's pivot introduces volatility into a conflict already riddled with risk. But for Ukraine, it offers something that has often been in short supply: time, protection, and an opening. For Mr. Putin, it offers something else: uncertainty, and perhaps the realization that the assumptions he built this war upon are beginning to collapse. That, more than any single missile system, is the worst news he could have received.